Good evening, Final Fantasy Randomizer and SpeedGaming fans. Welcome to this qualifying match of the Final Fantasy Randomizer SpeedGaming Live 2022 online tournament. I am Hate the 13th, joined in the booth by ADR. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to this game.
Yeah, these have shown to be pretty speedy flags, thankfully enough, because, gotta go fast if you're speed gaming. Yeah, so looking at the party comps, we've got Thief, Black Belt, White Mage, Black Mage on Luffy's side, with the same thing on Sir Lancelot's side, actually. These flags are, like I said, designed to be pretty quick, so the scaling isn't too punishing, and, excuse me, the locations are a pretty logical access, or pretty logical process for figuring out where everything is. As for what is randomized in this run, give me just a moment, and I will pull up the flags for you. Excuse me. I know that this one is actually odd from perspective of most of our tournaments, as the enemies actually have their vanilla scripts. Everything is going to be runnable, and the status attacks are, randomized as well, but stun touch is not included in it. And we are off. So it looks like we got the run on into check magic, and alright, level 1 life, that's okay. Level 1 Bane and level 1 Sleep 2.
Worth noting that tiered magic shuffle is on, which means that these lower level spells are going to be biased towards the weaker spells in the game, while still being randomized.
Yeah, so with tiered magic shuffle, you are much more likely to come across a level 1, level 2, having, stuff from level 1, level 2, maybe level 3 if you're lucky. You can still get the occasional rarity of seeing like a level 8 spell hiding at level 1, but it is much, much more rare than it is in non-tiered shuffles.
Our enemy stats are randomized today between 50 and 200%, whilst the boss is between 70 and 150, which means we won't see an enormous challenge in terms of enemy stats in all likelihood.
Yeah, and with scaling like that, especially with the black belt, I would be surprised if we see the runners take them above 32. Some people might go to 42 just because, it's much easier if you have the assured murder machine. Alright, but looks like Link is already rescued the princess, and has got the limestone, which is the ruby, and the crystal from the king.
I love to see early crystal because you can check it right as you walk on up. It feels so in the path.
Yeah, it is just so perfect to be able to alright, I don't have to go out of the way again to talk to Matoya. And, you can loot her closet and maybe get some extra cash for buying spells. Now, Luffy did find a Harm 2 axe in the upper right chest of Toph. That is actually a quite good thing for his White Mage. One of the flags that is on is improved harm for White Mage. What that does is that means that White Mage, when it casts harm, is going to hurt everyone. And yes, Multiform, this is a qualifier. This is looks like 4th to last qualifier? 5th to last qualifier? And numbers are hard sometimes. Yeah, there are 4 more qualifiers after this one. One on the morrow, 3 more qualifiers. 1 tomorrow, 1 Monday, and 1 Tuesday, and then 1 Thursday. I can tell dates and read calendars, really. Alright, despite the extra looting that Luffy has done, he is actually keeping up with Link a lot. He's not too far behind at this point, though Link has actually already done the Matoya turn-in.
With flags like these, a lot of it is going to come down to speedy execution. You want to get the boxes you need, drop the rest, and then be quick on your menus and quick on battle decisions so you're not wasting minutes that can add up by the end.
All right, it was the Canal from Matoya and our tracker, Dark Twinge, pointing out that there was an X-Cal in Matoya's closet. That's, a good pile of cash. All right, Linkalot going up, talking to the pirates and going, hey, you know what? I'm just going to throw a gas bomb and you're all going to probably fall over. Thanks, bye. All right, and a vanilla ship today. Beat up the pirates, take their ship. That's... wow, that's weird. Haven't seen that in a while. Oof. Well, that armor is a little expensive for not as good as it could be. Alright, Ruse at level 2 white magic. And Temperate level 2 black. Alright, so... level 2 magic, kind of lacking. Still no really good sweepers. Luffy is... well, no damaging sweepers, I should say, because Bane isn't going to do a whole lot of work against the undead.
That temper is always good to see, though.
It is, very much so, especially at a low level, because that way you can have plenty of casts of it. Right, and it looks like Link is just going to go and probably check and see what the Titan has already. Finding that level 5 magic, still a little disappointing as well. Though Wall is kind of a good one to have. And yeah, the Harm 2 axe, that's going to be great for Luffy. I don't think Sir Linkalot picked that up, though. And that'll actually be good pretty much for most things that Luffy runs into. Because, well, like I said earlier, the White Mage Harm All, that's a beautiful flag that really actually ups the power of the White Mage quite significantly.
Yeah, it can make a big difference early game.
Yeah, it's the difference between having somebody who's around who can't hit well, who doesn't do a lot of damage, versus somebody who can actually, take out enemies.
And we should point out to chat, the Harm 2 in vanilla only hurts undead, but in these flags, with the improved Harm turned on, if the White Mage is the one using it, it will hit all enemies.
Yep, and that is only if the White Mage uses it. And it looks like the excuse me, the Titan was holding on to a chime today. Yeah. Check and see what these guys, or what Sarda also is trying to hide away from the world. Alright, explosives. Might want to make sure that TNT is still viable and that it's not going to just explode on you randomly.
Well, that's one way to get past a rod plate.
And you may have noticed that on Sir Linkalot's side, he fed the Titan limestone, whereas Luffy gave him some tuna. Hopefully it was fresh. Those are both courtesy of the random foods that you can feed to the Titan. Other such joyous things that you can feed the Titan: alcohol, paste. And are they going to have to do the Marsh Cave, we are asked? I am going to verify on that. I am not 100% sure if Marsh Cave is incentivized in this. Give me just one.
It is incentivized, but they don't necessarily have to do it, because it could end up being an item that they can live without. For example, one of the incentivized gears, in this case the black shirt, is on the incentive list, but you're unlikely to need it to finish the game.
Yeah. The way that these flag sets are rolled is that there are going to be 2 items that are selected before each race that are going to be incentivized. For the qualifiers, it has been done by rolling a d12 and going, all right, this one and this one. Today, that happened to roll Power Gauntlet and Black Shirt. Power Gauntlet, that's the one you're going to want to find. That's a lovely, lovely, lovely item that'll cast Saber on the user. Black Shirt, well, it's armor for a black wizard. I mean, and there's also the Ice 2 aspect of it, but meh. All right, and it looks like Luffy is checking the spike tiles in the Hall of Giants, trying to find something he can get the grind on for his black belt. And he finds disappointment. Oh, and if you are new to the Final Fantasy Randomizer, I would advise taking a look at the website, just finalfantasyrandomizer.com. At this point, there are over 450 different flags that can be set for it. It's massive. The devs have done an amazing job on it. And we just saw Sir Link-a-Lot take that herb that he got from the TNT and turn that into the floater. So once he finds the canoe, he can get in the air. Right. Let's see, we got level 4 exit. Decent to have, a little high on the cost side, but whatever. Looked like level 3 white magic was nothing to write home about. Level 4 ice 3, lightning 3, and quake. Alright, level 4 is where the black magic has. And yeah, that we'll have to see about getting that command updated to have the proper bracket link in there as opposed to the one from last year. So one of the big quality of life fixes for the people who are new to the Final Fantasy Randomizer is that you can actually buy things in quantity. You don't have to sit there and go potion 1, potion 1. No, you can actually just go, all right, give me 99 of the things. That's, in my eyes, one of the best changes that was made with Randomizer. From a functionality perspective, that is. You know, fixing a lot of the things, those are essential changes, like making Temper and Saber and Ruse and Invis 2 actually work, and making the weapons actually crit as they should. Oh, I forgot the Ryukon dock is on. Ugh. So 1049 and Sir Link is in the air.
That's one of those flags when you're playing, you want to make a note of that. Because if you forget that, and the other player didn't, it can be a huge setback.
You very much, it can really bite you. And yeah, the spells, the items have been fixed. It's a much different game than the original one. It's a thing of beauty.
Glad to see Luffy also remembered that Doc was on and went straight to it.
Yep. And Sir Link-a-Lot doing a greed check and finding an Aegis Shield +4 in the, what I call Marsh 6. It's the 6th chest that's placed in Marsh Cave, and it's linked to one of the chests up top. Alright, Luffy decided, alright, it's time to sell that X-Cal. Maybe actually buy something. Ah, Ice 2 at level 3 black. Okay, so that's good damaging sweeper. Ice is one of the more damaging spells for its tier, i.e. Ice 2 is going to be doing, on average, more damage than Fire 2, but the trade-off is that there are things that are, a few more things that are resistant. Alright, and Sir Link-a-Lot finding the rod hiding out in Marsh Cave, so he is ready to dive down into Earth Cave.
Earth Cave is going to give us both the orb, and it will unlock the Sage item, which is another key item in Crescent Lake.
Yep, normally the Sages, for a lot of tournament flags, the Sages are turned on so you can get them early, so you don't have to worry about killing Lich or whatever is there to get the Sages. However, for this flag set, early Sages has been turned off, as has early ordeals. So that means in order for the players to actually get to or go into castle ordeals, they're going to have to find the crown. All right, and Luffy opting to take a different route and is going to the volcano. Now, in this flag set, Earth Cave does not have an incentive item, but Volcano, Sky Palace, and Sea Shrine do. Sea Shrine's, excuse me, the Sea Shrine is in what is colloquially known as the TFC, the friendly chest. That is the one chest in Sea Shrine that is behind a locked door, which requires the key. The key item in Sky Palace is, well, in the, quote, behind gating section, which means it is somewhere behind the cube. So, anywhere in the actual Sky Palace.
And that can take a few minutes to hunt down, because some of those chests are the second floor on Sky, for example. You've got a decent amount of walking between each one. We might see them put that off till last, so if it's something they don't need, they won't spend the time looking for it.
Oh, and it looked like Luffy was just going in to check the armory just to see if there was anything worthwhile in there. I mean, he did find some dragon armor, but lack of fighter kind of makes that moot. And yeah, custom sprites, that's something that can be done fairly easily. The developers have actually put a little section where you can upload a sprite sheet that has to be in a specific format. But you can upload a sprite sheet and it will overwrite the vanilla sprites with your custom ones. And there are plenty of options available on the website for resources on that, like setting up your own sprite sheets or even just grabbing a pre-made one and going from there. It looks like Link is now taking the time to check the Hall of Giants and finding his pile of disappointment therein. Burned his last exit, probably going to go hit the hotel at Melmond and then head back in to actually make the dive. Oh, all right. Well, Luffy has found the eye tile close to where its vanilla spot is. So I expect he is probably going to be trying to kill off the rest of his party here very, very soon.
I putting up a bit of a fight with a few hit points in that heat spell, but that's nothing to be too concerned about.
Yeah, it looked like it had less than 300 hit points, and it did resist the Bane, which, it happens. Yeah, Luffy looks like he's primarily going to be relying on that Harm 2 axe to do a bit of damage, and then the Black Belt, who does have plus 20 strength and plus 20 hit percent, at the cost of minus 1 hit percent per level with respect to the growth of it. So it's going to be a little slower to get fully online. Or actually, no, it'll get online a little bit quicker, but it won't get up nearly as high. And if you get quick eyes there, you could see that the Thief, excuse me, the Thief has plus 20 hit points and can equip axes, but cannot equip bracelets. So the copper, gold, silver, and opal bracelets, they are forbidden for him. The, excuse me, you see, the White Mage has plus 10 vitality and the wood adaptability. Now, what that does, that's one of the newer blessings. If you have the wood adaptability, when you equip the wood armor, the wood shield, and the wooden helmet, it gives you 120 evasion boost in battle, which is basically 3 ruse casts just straight up for free. It also gives you ability to actually equip said armor, because getting the bonus without having anything to equip it, it'd be a little bit useless. And the Black Mage has an additional 40 hit points and the Hunter ability. What that does is that means that if if a monster has a type, for example, Lich is undead, Carrie is magic, Tiamat is a dragon, Kraken is horrible. Oh, I'm sorry, Dark Twinge, thank you for correcting me on that. It's 3 invis casts, not ruse, so 1.5 ruse casts, approximately. Anywho, what Hunter does is it means that they will hit any typed enemy for damage as if they're hitting them with a weapon that they are weak to. It's kind of like half of an Excalibur, because it only works for typed enemies. It doesn't hit elemental weaknesses. And whilst I was babbling about that, Sir Lancelot has already run over that speed bump we call Lich.
Lich, in fact, fell into a crack. He is weak to earth magic, and Cake is an earth spell.
Yeah, this despite the fact that he is supposed to be the Fiend of Earth. That was something that was just left in. I'm not sure if that was actually ever supposed to be a bug or not, but yeah, he was not the strongest, so shall we say. Oh, and it looks like we got a vanilla canoe. So it looks like everything except for, obviously, the skyboat was vanilla today, strangely enough. At least transportation-wise, I should say. Alright, and it looks like Lancelot's going to be going in, probably checking the spike tiles, or maybe checking the spike tiles, because he has that black belt as well. And probably going to find the eye tile that Luffy's already found, and has killed half his party off for.
Now, taking this grind at this point does have a risk in that he doesn't know what's at the bottom of that hole. There's another spike tile down there. In vanilla, it's the undead pack. Here we don't know what it is yet. It could be something quite dangerous, and that black belt has to walk out to save these levels.
Yes, indeed. This is a risky way that Luffy has gone about this. But, you know, in order to go fast, sometimes you're going to have to take some risks. For example, Sir Lancelot has discovered that mages, a semi-common enemy in the Ice Cave, have thunder. So they murdered most of his party. Thankfully enough, his thief managed to run away, and his white mage had that level 1 life spell. And yeah, as Dark Twinge is pointing out in chat, Link's going to have a much harder time getting the grind going, because he doesn't have the Harm 2 item, which has shown to be a fairly integral part for Luffy. Oh, Poison Touch Undead. Ambushy Poison Touch Undead.
They're hitting pretty hard, too.
Yeah. Oh, down goes the white mage. Oh, this could be bad. Alright, well, Harm 2 is at least taken a couple of them out. Still got 5 of them in there, though, and this is... Oh, boy. Oh. Luffy getting some lucky turn order there.
An off-step encounter there. That's another risk of anytime you're in a grind. That other step, well, there's some cases where you're safe. This is not one. And you can run into anything there and really ruin your day, as we almost saw.
Yeah, and Sir Lancelot did find that eye tile, but then he also dropped down and saw that the normally undead tile... Oh my goodness. It's nightmares. And Link ran into another pack of mages who broke his face. But Luffy has got his black belt up to the point where it's just straight up murdering the eyes right now.
Now the black belts will gain 4 magic defense per level. That gives them a lot of resistance against instant kill spells, and it will help to lower the damage that Thunder does. But that's no guarantee that he's going to survive if he bumps into a pack of those mages.
Oh
the hit
my.
points will only go so far.
Alright, so we got the slab out of Ice Cave, and then we discovered that the nightmares waiting down at the bottom have Stop, and Slow 2, or not Slow 2, but Lightning 2, and then Ruse, and just really wreck your party. So if Luffy goes before, if he stops it, like, it's going to be a little bit odd to calculate here. Normally it'd be 32 for that break point, but it'll have a minus 12 on that still, so he'll need probably about 34 to get what would normally be the 32 break point. Back the napkin math. Don't trust me on that. He will be at risk of that stop spell.
Worth noting the way the shuffle is on. The script shuffle isn't on, which means monsters that didn't have scripts in their vanilla will not have scripts here. But the rest of the shuffle is on, meaning the spells they have, you don't know until you see it. Nightmares in vanilla have snorting, I believe. Here we saw something much, much meaner.
All right, and Link this time just running right on through. Did not encounter any of those mages yet, and has got the slab and is going to try and get out of there, and is using the level 4 exit to get out of there. And is then immediately noping out, going, I don't want to grind there because those nightmares hurt. As for the level the mages start running away at, I have no idea. The way that the morale functions is a bit of a black box, at least to me. I know that it works. It's something that's been fixed or modified to work as would be more expected. But yeah, I don't know the specific details of it. Looks like Linklot is also checking the spike tiles in Volcano Armory and checking the loot in Volcano Armory and getting the same level of disappointment that Luffy got out of it. Looks like Link's going to go get the slab translated, and I'm probably going to head on over to Lefane to see what the Lefanish actually have for him. And yeah, Smilefire's, given how much stuff our devs have done and how much they've changed, yeah, I would probably agree with that. They probably have more notes on the game than Nasir did. But, you know, Nasir did as much as he could given the time crunch. So, you know. And he still presented us with the original game, which, yeah, it didn't work exactly as it could have, but it was still a fun game. Still is a fun game, I should say. All right, Luffy is hitting 35 now. Getting 6 hits still, so yeah, 38 is probably going to be the level. Looks like Dark Twinge had the math correct, whereas my approximation was horribly, horribly wrong.
Linkalot just found the crown for sale in Onrak. In the vanilla game, the bottle is for sale, and that's one of the items that we shuffle into limits, so that can appear in any item shop. And this one is a crown, which is going to unlock the key item behind the Dark Elf Astos, and will allow access into the Castle of Ordeals.
Yeah, gonna be real close time to go murder a Dark Elf. Luffy is level 37 now. He's just keeping on moving. Couldn't quite see if that was 6 hits or 8 hits because I was also watching Sir Link's screen, and 8 hits for Luffy. All right, so he is probably going to take this up to 42 just to have the MDEF protection. Nope, I am horribly wrong. All right, looks like since he survived that first stop, he's like, all right, well, this is fine. I will just punch their faces in. This is the power of a black belt after you've spent the time to do the grind. That is the trade-off that you have to do. If you have a fighter or a thief as your primary melee, you have to spend the time looting, you have to find the gear, probably going to have to promote. Black belt, you just have to find a grind and hope to survive it. Ooh. And Dark Twinge pointing out that there was a fast stick in Waterfall, and there was also an Ice 3 bonk in Waterfall. And by bonk, I mean gauntlet. So with this flag set as well, the spells that are on items have also been shuffled around. There is a guaranteed power bonk or saber item, as well as a guaranteed ruse item. what the ruse item is when it's guaranteed via the flag is what we do is we take the power staff, which in the vanilla game, its only claim to fame was that it could, or its purchase price was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But that is transformed into the power bong, or the saber ruse stick. I can words, I swear it. Right, and Luffy, I don't think he even went to go res the rest of his party. He's just like, nope, I'm in the area. I'm going to go down to a volcano and see what Carrie's got, and then punch myself a fiend in the face. Alright, and Astos had the adamant, so we gotta go turn that into Smithy McBeardsmith. See what he forges out of it. And I believe the robot also had that Oxyel. Alright, so you get a big metal cube, so that's all of the Fiend dungeons that are ready to go, but you still gotta find that loot and that key. Looks like Link was stopping to top off provisions a little bit. And Luffy has found one of the other lovely spike tile encounters. This is the seafood party platter, and he found this hiding out in Volcano, well, on the Agama tile. The red dragon tile turned into a Jotunheim pack, which is, you know, frost giants and frost wolves. Right. And in the volcano, we found a fairy and a bottle and a box. And it looks like Sir Lancelot is checking the overworld the overworld tiles in the desert to see if he can find something he can grind on there. Looks like the first encounter off the hard reset in that quadrant is Steak and Wings, or Tyros and Wyverns. For those unfamiliar, in the desert near the Mirage Tower, there are 4 separate encounter zones. Not quite divided or not quite with the Mirage Tower at the center, but really close enough. And each of those encounter zones, you know, you'll have different encounters. And what Lancelot is doing is he is checking the first encounter off the hard reset, which will always come after the same number of steps, to see if he can find, well, something to get his black belt leveled up on.
Among the advantages of that overworld grind are you save far more frequently, so the odds of you hitting a bad fight and losing it are quite low.
Yeah. Now, the disadvantages are that it's going to take a little bit longer because you have to, you know, save and do a hard reset after each one. And Tyros are kind of scary sometimes. They have high magic defense. They can, you know, hit pretty hard. And they're kind of thick. Yeah, it's not quite as much XP per minute as the eye grind that Luffy did. But I think Lancelot got a bit spooked because he saw those mages and all of the other horrible things that happened there. So I think he was a little bit wary of doing anything in an ice cave, which I can't blame him for.
Luffy came within one more hit of losing that grind, so it could easily have gone the other way.
Yeah. And if that stop spell that the Nightmares had cast had gotten through the Black Belt's MDef, that really probably would have been it. Whilst the Nightmares were a little bit spell happy, they also were attacking, and when you're stopped, you can't really dodge pretty much at all. Alright, and it looks like we are going to see what the Lefanians have from Sir Lancelot, and Luffy's going to pop that bottle and see what the fairy gives. Alright, Lefanians have the key. So you're going to have to do that walk on down there. And the fairy in the bottle gives the black shirt. So it turns out that volcano check, well, he got Carrie killed. Suddenly I'm trying to remember if I saw him fighting Carrie, and I don't remember. I'll have to keep an eye on his pause menu when he goes into it.
Here he went down to a big hit from that black belt.
Okay, that's about what I figured would probably happen. Alright, Link-a-Lot got a few levels on that black belt and was like, alright, I've got the key. I am going to go check to see what the spike tile in Temple of Fiends is. Oh my. Normally this would be a decent spike tile to see, but you don't have the right elemental magic to take it out on the weapons right now.
Those slimes are weak to fire.
Yup. Yeah, Link is just on the hunt for a grinding spot.
Northwest Castle here is another good one because it's a relatively short walk and there's no off-tile encounters.
Oop, wrong eye, wrong eye, wrong eye. For those unfamiliar, the Phantom is originally the last trap tile encounter in the vanilla game. It hits like a truck and gives, I think, 1 XP and 1 gold.
That's right.
It was a horrible troll. And welcome on into the Raiders from SpeedGaming. We are in the qualifier. Joined us in the middle of a qualifying round of the Final Fantasy Randomizer online SpeedGaming Live tournament. We actually have today. We got 9 people running it today. A lot of the people who are running in it have actually already done 3 qualifiers, or at least a few of the people are. Just trying to improve their times. Yeah, for example, Luffy has done his 3. Sir Link-a-Lot has also done 3 already. And let's see, it looks like Luffy's about to get that rod. Alright, and it looks like Sir Link is going for the steak and wing grind. Which, gonna have to see if he can, take these things out before they take him out, but it's gonna be a little close with that Tyro. It looks like he may be going into a separate quadrant to check and see if he can find something. I'm wondering if he's going to check the second encounter in the encounter table.
I'm sure he'd love to see sandworms right now.
Oh my goodness, sandworms or a T-Rex. Something aside from the actual full steak and wing pack, but it looks like he's just rolling with it. If he gets ambushed, he's just doing another reset. And wow, those guys are kinda ambushy. By kinda, I mean way too ambushy. And yeah, Dark Twinge pointing out in chat that Link-a-Lot could get a little cheeky and go and check and see what's in the Mirage Tower. Look for an encounter there. And yeah, the steak and wing is a long-held community meme, up to the point where one of the things the developers have included in the fun percent area is whether you're on Team Steak or not. And it will actually turn the T-Rex and the Tyro sprites into giant steaks. One of the ones that when I see it, it always kind of makes me giggle. Alright, looks like Luffy's about to go murder another fiend. Though he hasn't found the Oxyale or that crown yet, so he is gonna have to start checking some other places. Though at this point, I think the only place he can really go is he's going to be able to go get the canoe, then he'll be able to go up to Onrak and the waterfall.
I expect Luffy's going to finish Onrak all in one go, pick up that crown, go up to Waterfall, go and grab the item because he already has the key, and then take Kraken down.
Yeah, and the problem with finding the Oxyale with finding the Oxyale is that means that it could be the Saberbonk in as the incentivized Sea Shrine item, or it could be somewhere in Sky Palace. And whoever finds the Saberbonk of Luffy versus Sir Lancelot, if Luffy finds the Saberbonk in the Sea Shrine, it's going to be bad news for him, because that means that he'll have done basically 2 dead checks. Whereas if Lancelot finds it, that means he's going to have to do some additional digging. And honestly, I just entirely memory hold the existence of an Orb Castle Ordeal, so there's also that place where the loot could be. Oh my. So today we've learned that Frostwolves have Toxic. Toxic is a death elemental based skill, because why would something called Toxic be poison elemental based? But as you just saw, it is just a straight up you die spell. And let's see how Link is doing. Looks like Link is at level 29 on his black belt now. So he is 10 levels away from that 8-hit breakpoint. That being said, he is getting a good amount of XP for each fight. But, excuse me, because he's got the, it looks like 3-4 seconds here. Yeah, 3 seconds after the hard reset. So when you figure in the menuing to get to the tent, save, then do a hard reset, which gives you about 4.5 seconds per fight, or between each fight. Yes, he's getting close to 10k per fight, but it's not quite as much XP as Luffy was getting on the Eye.
General rule of grinds is you take the one you have, not necessarily the one you want. So yep. I think it's a good play that he's getting the levels now. It'll make the rest of the seed easier.
Yes, I do not disagree with that. Yeah, that fast stick is gonna be possibly a lifesaver, because that was also fixed so that fast actually, doubles the amount of hits you get. But now that Luffy has that Oxyale, I imagine he is just gonna be running right on down and mauling himself a squid. Right. And it looks like Luffy is going to go check and see what is in the friendly chest. For some strange reason, that is the only door that is locked in the Sea Shrine. And it is a Brack Gauntlet, which that's the modified Saber Gauntlet. So, yeah.
Brack is a good spell to have. It can kill Kraken and Tiamat, but when you have a black belt like this, it's a disappointing thing to see.
Yeah, it really is. So yeah, that means that... Oh, let me see. I'm trying to figure out what else we've got Fine. Oh, the tail is one of the other endpoints. So we're going to have a tail or loot in Sky Castle or Ordeals. And yeah, that's just not a fun thing.
Both those checks will take their time. Ordeals is a long walk. Sky, it could be the first chest you open, or it could be the last.
All right, well, and Luffy getting a couple of greed checks in here on his way down to have some calamari, found a saber hat. So it looks like the heel helm got turned into a saber helm. All right, Linkalot heading to Lefane or to Crescent Lake to get his party brought back up because nobody likes going to the clinic in Gaia. It's yes, it might be technically closer, but it's a walk to Gaia. No one likes that, or walk through Gaia, I should say. All right, and looks like Link is heading on down to take on Carrie and find that bottle, which we know is going to lead to disappointment, but he doesn't know that himself, so he's got to check it. Now, I feel like I should point this out as well. Due to the way these qualifiers are run, it's actually not Luffy versus Sir Lancelot. It's more of the runners against themselves and the runners against their previous times. For example, last year during the qualifying rounds, it was not uncommon for people to run more than 3 races just to try and improve their times. And if they get beyond the point where their average time is, forfeit out and just, call it good. However, once the actual tournament starts, then it's going to be no longer a group thing, and it's going to be 1v1. All right, and Luffy walking up to Astos and going, "Hey, you know what you look like? Punch nothing." All right, Linkalot getting that bottle as Luffy pulls the adamant. Gonna go get his heavy metal cube. After he chases the Raid Dwarf around a bit. All right, and there goes Carrie, turned into a fine mist. Hello, Agama. All right, and with that, Luffy is heading on over to Sky Palace, and looks like he's probably going to make the play and do some sky checks before heading to Ordeals. I don't hate the idea of it, because, well, as ADR said, Ordeals is a long walk, and you have to go through that maze, and we haven't seen Warp. Excuse me, and all right, as Luffy is trudging on through here, runs into one of the more annoying packs, but thankfully enough, vampires, he's able to get away from them. Sometimes they're actually smart enough to run. A lot of the undead actually have disturbingly high morale for the level they're at, because they're just kind of supposed to be mindless undead. Kind of dumb. Medusa's with poison touch. That's fun? Quote unquote question mark. Alright, and 47 minutes in, we've got Sir Lancelot heading on down to get what is going to be his Brack Gauntlet and then take out Carrie. Kraken. Running into an Arsahag Wizahag pack. This is something that if you find it, it can be good experience if you need it. At this point, though, Link doesn't really need anything, so I expect him to really just be running from everything. And I am also not entirely shocked about him resetting out of that Brack Gauntlet. It's not something that really gives him anything he needs. Luffy is going through, doing the full clear of Sky 1, finding nothing so far. So just in Sky Palace, there are 34 chests. Or trying to remember if it's 34 or more, actually. I believe it's 34. You got 10 of them on the first floor. Oh, and there's the loot. So Luffy is in go mode, does not have to go through ordeals, and will not find the womp that is the tail. Yeah, Luffy is just entirely skipping everything now. This play makes a whole pile of sense. Even Link-A-Lot's skipping stuff now. Now, unfortunately, that means he skipped that Saber helmet, but yeah, it's not a big thing for him. So he is just striding up to Kraken. Link-A-Lot has realized how much time he's at here, and he has actually forfeited out because he is beyond the time that he was looking for. So GG's to Sir Link-A-Lot for putting in the effort. Can't beat your record if you don't try. So see if he wants to pop on in and have a chat with us about his stuff or not. We will know momentarily if he decides to jump in and join us. I also want to say thank you once again to ADR for jumping in the booth with me on such short notice. He did have to take off for a previous commitment, but I appreciate the fact that he jumped in for at least the first bit of this race. By first bit, I mean almost the entirety thereof, because these are pretty quick flags. One of the other flags that you've got here is the Short Temple of Fiends. So as opposed to having to go through that whole big old dive, you walk in, congratulations, you're on the Chaos floor. You just have to get through the Fiends. To respond to Uplifting Chafe as to why there was a forfeit, it's because rather than racing against each other, at least for now, in the qualifying rounds, the runners are racing against their previous time, trying to see if they can get a better time than they had before to bring their initial seeding up. Link-A-Lot has done more than 3 of these races beforehand and actually has a pretty good time on his hands right now. And as he has hit beyond the point where the time would improve if he were to keep going, he's just like, no, I'm gonna call it here. It's something that is not uncommon during the qualifying rounds. All right, wow. And while I was just talking about that, Luffy walked up to Kraken 2, who is oftentimes one of the gatekeepers, and just murdered it. Pulling it up to Tier 2, getting some invis stacks. Looks like trying to get that fast off on that black belt before it punched. Oh, nope, getting a wall stack, or getting a wall set up. That makes sense, actually. So now it's just wait punch, wait. Yeah, 12 hits, 1240. That's a dead dragon. Alright, and pulling up to Chaos at 5240 something. Doing a little bit of party rearranging just in case. Getting that wall off. Just want to make sure, and getting a fast off. So the Thief does his job as a blade of meat shield and is immediately turned into a pile of nothing by Chaos punching his head off. Now that we know Chaos is punchy, we're going to actually get some evasion going on. Not much, but just a little bit at least. more tempers, or another temper after that saber. 12 hits, 1500 damage. And this is going to kill Chaos here. Oh my goodness, 16 hits, 2330. Get your GGs out for Luffy. Finishing up with an official racetime.gg time of 53 minutes and 18 seconds. So GGs. And just to let you all know, the previous, we had 2 runners finish before Luffy. We had Spellzap and Pickles and Beer, who both finished up before him. Spellzap finished at 49.31. Pickles and Beer finished at 50.48. And Luffy, who has joined us in the booth, came in third in this game race. So GG's Luffy, and welcome on in. Okay, there he is. GG's Luffy, and welcome back on in now.
Oh, very strange. I cannot hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Oh, I think I know what happened.
No. All right, well, we will be waiting here for just a moment while Luffy gets the technical things figured out, because audio settings happen. And yes, in Machina, this is...
Can you hear me now?
I've always been able to hear you, Luffy.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I redid some audio on my computer to have just game audio come through my OBS, and it tweaked something in my Discord, so I had to do that on the fly, and I am very not technically savvy, so I tried.
Hey, you figured it out. That's all that matters, man. So GG's on this one.
Thank you. That was pretty good.
Yeah, 53.40. It's a really a pretty good time for these flags, especially having found the 2, well, for all intents and purposes, dead checks of the hold shirt and the Brack gauntlet.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the other couple times here with Spellzap and Pickles, they either probably didn't do those or just were a little bit luckier in some situations, because I think I routed that pretty well. I feel like getting the floater real early. It's the first time that the Ryukon or Doc has come into play for me, which was pretty exciting. So I like that a lot, but it was good. It's one of my better times, I think. I'm hoping this kind of helps my seeding, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, good on you. You also got lucky in Ice Cave in the fact that you didn't run into the mages with Thunder.
I saw in the post-race chat that happened, and I ran into them once, and throughout a harm 2 and a run, maybe I can grab a level or 2 before I come down, and did not realize how lucky I was. But then almost died on that off encounter right before I had switched the harm 2 axe, in case I run into an undead pack, and got 11 HP. Very lucky.
Yeah, we saw that as well. We mentioned that as one of the risks of doing the grind where you were doing it. Yep. But it ended up paying out for you. As evidenced by the fact that you basically walked up to Chaos and went, "Here, hold this," and then punched him in the neck.
It's always fun. Black Belt is my preferred melee personally. I really enjoy them. I think that they make things fun for me. They're not everybody's taste, but I just like how they punch and destroy. So it's always pleasurable when you can just walk right up to Chaos and turn him into dust. I do enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, I'm not a black belt fan myself. I prefer, Thief and Fighter, because I'm one of those weird people who likes thieves.
I like Thief too. You're not alone.
Well, at least I like the buffed thieves. Let me say I like that.
Fair.
But yeah, no, this one you managed to actually find the grind, and you survived the initial hard parts, which a big chunk of that was that harm 2 axe. Linkalot skipped checking the chests in Toph and did not get that, and was relying on Ice 2 and harm, which didn't quite make the cut.
Right, yeah. I'm 50-50 a lot of times on checking those boxes in Temple of Fiends, just because they're, for being the first place you go, they are still kind of out of the way and really not necessary. But I tend to find myself looking at them in these flags to see if there's extra money or if I can come across, a weapon that has some kind of item magic. In this case, that Harm 2 axe was very reasonable, and I thought that was a really good find, and that made me not as scared of Ice Cave, knowing that there weren't really any good sweepers at all to be found.
Yeah, I mean, at least until you got down to Elfland and could potentially pick up the level 4 Lightning 3, Fire 3, but
yeah,
that's you still don't have a lot of charges before the grind. And
yeah, exactly. And trying to get the black belt online as fast as possible, you don't want to leave the rest of the party up too long. A couple levels here and there were nice. I think most of them went down at 12 or 13, and the white mage went down at 16, 17, which was kind of perfect.
Yeah, that is, I have to say, pretty much an optimal time for it to go down, especially when you've got the black belt who has that plus 20 hit percent.
Yeah.
The minus 1% growth, that's a little bit slow, but you burn that bridge later. The plus 20 hit percent, that helps him get online a little bit faster.
Yeah, when I saw him get his 6 hit at 21 again, I'm like, okay, this is going to be fine. It'll probably be mid-30s for the 8th hit, and that's fine because I was considering going a little bit higher to 40 anyway, just to kind of make sure the MDef thing, because I've taken a grind in Ice Cave to 32 and bounced out of there all right, let me just get out of here, and ran into something with Toxic or something with another insta-kill that just melted me right after I got my levels and had to go back in. So I tend to find myself probably playing a little bit safer, getting an extra couple levels to make sure I try to shore up that MDef as sure as possible. So it was pretty good and pretty lucky.
Yeah, and it's honestly not a bad idea. I mean, this is one of the things why I tend to not do so well with black belts when I have to, is because I will always take them to 42, because I hate walking out and getting hit with a zap or a bane or a toxic or anything like that. It's just nope. If I'm doing this, I'm taking it all the way.
Yeah, I find myself doing that more often than not too. 32 is totally fine to finish in these flags with the scaling. But you're always, especially when it's that location on that spike tile, having to walk not only through Ice Cave to get to the item, but then having to walk back out again, not knowing what you're going to come across, because there's just a whole myriad of just gross enemies in there that can have any number of anything, and the undead always seem to be just horrific whenever you're in there. So
yeah, I mean, at least stun touch has been removed, so you don't have to worry about getting stun locked into oblivion and chipped down 1 hit point at a time.
Yep, seen that, been there, done that.
Yep, it's like a rite of passage, just like
sure.
Just like forgetting to talk to Bicky.
Yep, done that myself too.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think everyone who plays FFR has probably done that at some point.
Yeah, there's a couple of things that we do as runners in this league where if you haven't done that, you're not really a runner yet, and yeah, that's absolutely one of them.
All right, well, with that, you got any final thoughts about this? Go ahead and wrap her up and let SpeedGaming have the channel back.
Yeah, so this was a lot of fun. I want to thank Bert and everybody else for putting on this tournament so far. It's been a little back and forth with co-op and trying to get this in at the same time, but I didn't do SGL last year, so I really wanted to try to get it in this year, and co-op was something that I wasn't sure if I was going to be doing either. And then Shanigan messaged me because Shum and I couldn't get back together, which is sad, but Shum's still part of our group and helping us out a little bit here and there, but yeah, there's a lot going on. So
Shum still managed to knock me out, so
Yeah, I just got back from my vacation today, so I appreciate him filling in for me this past week when I was on vacation with my family. So it was really good on him for that. But as far as the SGL flags, they're really good. I think Bert did some nice job. Tiered shuffle is not my favorite thing in the world, but we're finding ways to get around it and make it work. The item magic is helpful from time to time, and the taking the black belt half crit rate off is very helpful if you get one in your draft for trying to do what you can do in these flags. So I think they're very balanced. I think they're very well thought out, and I'm looking forward to the next round and hopefully get to the tournament later on.
All right. Well, once again, thanks for volunteering to put the show on for us, Luffy, and thanks to Sir Lancelot for also jumping in and volunteering, even though he opted not to come in for the interview, which is entirely his prerogative.
Real quick again, thank you as well to you and ADR for being in the booth, and for SpeedGaming for hosting us, and Who's pushing the buttons right now?
This is Dark Twinge who is doing directing for us.
Dark Twinge, my man, thank you so much. Really appreciate you too. You guys did great.
All right, well, with that, just go ahead and give our final spiel. If you like what you saw today, go ahead and toss a follow to our runners. I think they kind of deserved it for putting on the show for us. And if the game in itself looks interesting, you can come check it out at FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. Therein, you'll find a link to our Discord or our development Discord if you want to get into that side. The Discord has a plethora of folks who are willing to answer any questions you may have about the game and just help you get set up and running. We won't be having our next Duckling Derby, which is our new player introduction program, until winter, but there's always people who are around to answer questions. So with that, I have been Hate the 13th, and I want to say thanks again to ADR and Dark Twinge for jumping in and helping us out. And with that, I will bid you all a good afternoon.